Flosstube! This is Tara with Woman Crafts, and we are back for a surprise 2-week update. I have been doing months. I know every time I kind of start with this whole spiel, but I basically ended up getting my hands on a lot of projects in the last 2-ish weeks since I filmed, and it felt like a good time for an update. And then this way, even if I continue on months, it's kind of like at the beginning of every month instead of how I like weirdly kind of fell in the middle. So we'll see. It felt like a good update right now. I hope you all are doing well. I've seen that there's been a few newcomers around here, so thank you so much for checking me out. Today we are rocking, I used to watch this YouTuber who called this her Pebbles hair, like from the Flintstones. I don't know if that ages me, but so we're rocking the Pebbles hair today, and I'm trying to milk the last of sweatshirt season, but this is a Animal Crossing reference if anyone is familiar. But anyway, yeah, it's been a good couple of weeks. It was a short month. February always is, obviously, but yeah, like I said, interestingly got a lot of Stitchy progress done and had a trip, which we'll get into later. And yeah, hope you all had a great month. So without further ado, we will start with all the cross stitch stuff as we do, and then I have one non-cross stitch project, a knitting project, that's been ongoing that I'll update you toward the end. So to start off, I did have 2 finishes in the last 2 weeks, 1 finish and 1 FFO. So I guess I will show my fully finished object, which I showed as a finish in my last video, but it has been gifted at this point, so I'll go ahead and put a little clip up that I took before I gifted this to a friend. So this was Paws and Plaid by Georgia Girl Stitching, and I stitched this up for a friend who lost a beloved pet recently and was having a tough time, so I made this into a little ornament for her. And then I also showed last time that her mom, I stitched the bigger paw on my heart pattern. If you want to check that out, on one of those kind of like pre-mounted on frame, I'm not describing it well, it's in the last video toward the beginning if you want to check that out. But yeah, so those are both away and gifted, and so and I will eventually post pictures on my Instagram, but right now my friend has both of the pieces and her mom does not have her piece, and her mom follows me on Instagram, so I have not taken pictures of the fully finished items yet on the Instagram. But anyway, that's that. So that is off to its new home. And then I had one other finish. So I spoke last time, this is an 805 Stitcher bag. I mentioned last time that I wanted to try doing the dark 13 stitching, and then the where you stitch on like a Halloween or like a, you know, dark gothic project on the 13th of every month, and then stitching on Christmas or winter stitching on the 24th and 25th. So I did do that the past month, and it took me the 13th and the 14th, but I did finish my 1 jar of the Witch's Pantry by Hands on Design. So this jar says hands just a helping, which is like kind of a funny, you know, it's used in a baking sense and also, you know, a helping hand. Very clever. So there are 2 other jars. I don't have any immediate plans to start the other 2 jars. Maybe in October I'll start a jar and then just try to, you know, get to it when I get to it. But that is chilling for now. And this is on 32 count. Oh gosh, I'm not gonna remember. It's Fabrics by Stephanie Slate, I want to say. I will correct that if that's not right, but I think it's 32 count linen and slate from Fabrics by Stephanie. And that went well. And I used all the called for. I'm gonna keep just almost putting it back in, but I did the called for gray in the jar lid is Weeks, which I endeavor to not buy those. If I have them on hand, I have them on hand, but I'm trying not to add more to the stash. So I just subbed a box floss that I got in a different box for the gray. Not a big substitution. So that is project number 1. That's the finish. And then we will get into starts. So this is part of why I was like, I need to just go ahead and film an update. Like, things got out of hand. I have started 3 projects since we last chatted, which were sort of planned, and yet I think in the back of my mind I didn't think I was gonna go through with it. But the start-itis hit really bad in February and I leaned into it. So the first one I did mention, this isn't such a fun bag. My bags are like rarely themed, I feel like, but I don't know. We got some fun mythical monsters here. And this houses my start on the Zelda Biscornu from, wow, this fabric is folded really weird. From the Needle and Floss. This is like the most cursed fold, sorry. So I got a pretty good start on it. This is really what I want to work on a lot, but I've had other things on the go, as you'll see. But so we have our little Triforces in here, the border's done, and then we're putting our little shields in, and this will be the top half of the Biscornu. So obviously there will be a similar bordered 60 by 60 square beneath it. But this is making me really happy, and this is really what I want to stitch on. I want to get back to it this month. So this is on 32 count fox and rabbit linen and the color ballet slippers, which is not the call for, but I feel like it's getting the job done. It's a nice, beautiful neutral, pinky neutral, peachy neutral. But yeah, this makes me so happy. And I guess I can put a picture up of what it will look like, the final piece, but anyway. Whoops. I like it a lot. The border went fast. I thought for, like, it's not dense, but I don't know, it went faster than I thought it would, so I am happy. And I always, like, I picked a needle minder that has a directionality to it because I'm always afraid that I'm gonna, like, forget which orientation I'm working, which I think it really doesn't matter if you get it completely upside down. I think it only matters if you worked on it at 90 degrees, right? So I just want to make sure before you start stitching again that your X's are going in the right direction. But anyway, that was a fun, exciting start. I just couldn't help myself. And I'm also, I don't know, not to put pressure on my friend, but one of my friends who watches, we were discussing this Biscornu and how much I loved it. And when I told her it was a Zelda Biscornu, she immediately was like, oh my goodness, is one of the 4 divine beasts that are featured in Breath of the Wild. She was like, oh, is it like a divine beast in every corner? And I was like, no, it's not, but that needs to exist. So get to designing. I need my friend to start designing so I can stitch that, but I'll finish this first. I can't really put her on the hook until I'm done with that. But anyway, that was a start over the past 2 weeks in February. And then I didn't want to completely lose the thread on February, so several stitchers participate in that, which is a play on, you know, aviary, birds, so bird themed stitching in February, which I had a February start last month, or last Flosstube. See, I'm used to being on a month schedule. The previous Flosstube in early February, I had a start on one of the pieces I got from the February bird box, but I wanted to have a second one, and goodness knows I have enough patterns to have a second one. So I did accomplish my task, my goal. It's not a big start, but I did start on the next edition in my Bird Crush Club, and I am going to show you the cover because it doesn't look like anything yet. So the flosses are in here, but this is the August bird. This is the Lewis's Woodpecker. And so here is my my start. So I got, it's a blend on that stomach area there of like a gray and this $8.91, such a fun color. So yeah, I got that stomach piece done, and now it started. One of the goals I had for this year was to finish this series, so no time like the present to get going. And I did come back, I stitched on it for one day, and then I did come back and have a second stitching session. I won't say stitching day, but stitching session on this. This is about 2 sessions worth of work, which is most of the stomach of the bird. It has like the neck and then the back feathers, and then it's just that tree. I'm nervous about that tree. That's a big old tree in the pattern. But anyway, this is on one of my 3 bird crush fabrics, and this is the 32 count Zweigart, Lugana, and Vintage Country Mocha. Love it. Love it. And that one, since I've apparently been on a bag feature kick on this video, I typically don't do that. Oh no, I'm zipping up fabric threads in here. Uh-oh. One moment. Okay, crisis avoided. This is in my bird bag that I made for myself. Love it. And then finally, this is the really fun one. This is the one I'm really excited to share. I had one additional start this month, or in the month of February, and that one was my other Halloween 805 stitcher bag. This one is a pattern from the Halloween 31 Days in Haunted America box by Forbidden Fiber. No, that is not correct. That is not correct. Fangirl Fibers. Can we not have any more companies with triple Fs? It's like we have Fortnite Fabrics, Forbidden Fiber Co., and Fangirl Fibers. I'm trying. I'm trying. We're all out here trying. Anyway, so this was a pattern that was in the 31 Days of Haunted America box. Bonaventure Cemetery by Park Hopper Bart. And for my friend's birthday, she wanted to go to Savannah. And Bonaventure Cemetery is in Savannah. So I, being the absolute weirdo I am, when asked by my dear friend, bless her heart, she is not a super crafty friend. She was like, what do you want to do when we're in Savannah? And I was like, I want to go stitch at a cemetery. And she enthusiastically agreed and was such a good sport about it. And we went. So as part of the trip, we did swing by, and I had a little start. I wasn't trying to hold up the entire afternoon. But here it is, my little tiny start. It's only a little over 50 stitches. But I got one of the little leaf motif in the corner, and this needle minder and the fabric and the threads were all in the box. The box was a great box of like 5 kitted projects basically. So yeah, we have the needle minder that says I like long romantic walks through haunted houses. So yeah, this is kit, fabric, kit, which a lot of them didn't have names, so unfortunately I don't know. I did get the linen, I got the linen box, so I know it's approximately a 32 count linen, in kind of a gray color. But anyway, it's a small start. I don't know, now that Witch's Pantry is done, if this is gonna be my Dark 13 piece. I think I'm gonna, like, whatever strikes my fancy, I'll either stitch on this one or I'll stitch on the one on another Halloween piece that I have. But this was really awesome to do. We walked around, and it was kind of like, it had started as a pretty sunny day, and as we walked through, it kind of got like overcast and stuff. So I actually want to put up a picture. My friend was so sweet. We found this bench like in the back, and she suggested that we get some photos of me stitching. I'm just gonna share the one, but she was such a good sport about it. Anyway, so that was really fun. And as I was leaving the cemetery, there was a woman in her car, and she actually saw me, you know, it's a clear front bag. She saw me with my bag and asked me if it was cross stitch. It was like, oh my gosh, is that cross stitch? And I was like, yeah. And I ran up to her and showed her the pattern and everything. And I was like, I wanted to stitch on it in the cemetery. And she was like, oh my goodness, like that is so special, like what a wonderful memento. And I felt that was very validating to be like, see, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. People think this is cool. People think this is cool. So that was a very special start, very special memento of that trip. And we'll see where this goes. Like I said, I didn't exactly like start this with the intent that I was going to have a whole lot of time to dedicate to it right now, but it's on the go. It's on the go. I think it's Megan, the Seattle Stitcher, that says, you can't finish what you don't start. So can't be a finish if it's not a start. So it started. And then I also wanted to shout out for Christmas, my brother gave me some Adam Heart thread drops and the like fun galaxy colorway, so I put that on there, and you can see it's a nice moody gothic colors. And if I haven't put the picture up already, I did. So in the pattern you could see there's like this arch in the middle, and I mean, again, in the interest of not spending like the entire day trying to hunt, like go through every corner of this cemetery, we were kind of doing a little arch watching, and so I took a picture of the work in front of a convincing enough arch for me. It had some good trees over it, and I don't know if the designer specifically, I mean, it makes sense that it'd be designed after a specific arch that's in the cemetery, but it didn't immediately pop out at me, so I took a picture with some arches I thought were cool. So anyway, that was my kind of rogue start. I think my logical brain was like, you don't need this start. You really don't need this start. You got a lot happening, a lot planned, but how can you turn down an opportunity like that to stitch on a piece about a location in that location? So cool. I hope, please let me know if you think that's also cool. If you don't think it's cool, that's fine. That's totally fine. I get it. I get it. It was cool to me. Okay, so those are the 3 new starts. And with that, we will then move on into works in progress. So things we've already seen, but are still cranking away at. So several of these are going to be very familiar at this point, but first up is good old Santa's stamp collection. So I took a cue from Cece of GGKCS, and on YouTube, you can look her up, and when she has big projects that she wants to get finished in a certain amount of time, she divides the number of stitches left, which luckily this loads in a pattern keeper, so that was pretty easy to figure out, by, you know, the days in which she wants it done. And so I kind of did all that math and figured out I needed to do about 150 stitches a week to finish this before this coming December. And I'm actually quite ahead of schedule still. It turns out, you know, 150 stitches is not even really what I do in an hour. Like I typically do more than that in an hour, so it's been really easy to knock that one off. It's only about like one good little sitting session. So since the last time you have seen it, I completely finished the top banner here. And again, I know that Ecru is struggling to pop, but it's up there. So I'll get in close on this banner. Santa stamp collection. And I finished stamp number 8. So of the stamps that I have not yet finished since the holidays, I have filled in number 8 here, which is Figgy Pudding. So obviously still avoiding number 7, but So for my stitches this week, I finished that stamp number 8, and for next week, we're going in one of the big ones. So I am not quite, Pattern Keeper wouldn't let me have it. I think finishing stamp number 8 put me at about 69.93% complete. So like I'm not exactly to 70%, but almost to 70%. And I think if I, so I should finish this ahead of schedule, but let's also not jinx ourselves. I didn't stitch on it the previous week because I was on a trip, but it was nice since I was ahead of schedule to just be like, okay, I'm gonna bank those stitches for this week. So anytime I can get ahead, that has been helpful. So that is WIP number 1. So yep, stamp collection. Oh, which I've been saying. Yeah, I've been saying. Okay, I just didn't on this one. This was in the Nice List box for 2022. The pattern is by Kathyrn Landis of the Black Needle Society. The fabric is 32 count linen in plush from Fortnite Fabrics. Yes, okay, great. Moving on. So next up is the other one I put on a board, and I gave her a gentle iron just because she deserves it, but it is the Dark Queen. So, holy moly, it's big. It's getting big. Here's where we are at. This is through February. So as of today, which is March 3rd, I am behind once again. But that's okay. I do feel slightly lied to. I thought they said that we were starting with the heaviest stitching first, and it was supposed to, like, I thought we had passed the inflection point where maybe it would be, you know, maybe less than 2,000 stitches a month. No. So apparently, this month for March, the March release was supposed to be her face. But if anyone has interfaced with Autumn Lane Stitchery and the designers, the married couple, and Aaron and Cassandra, they are absolute perfectionists, which I think certainly shows in the final designs. And they were not able to finalize the second face. So for the Dark Queen of the Seas and evidently for the Dark Queen of the Earth, they are offering 2 face options, and they did not finalize the second face, so they didn't release it. So they picked a different section, which is going to kind of take this vine that we brought around and it snakes behind her. It's going to come out this side, and there's a large circular branch that goes over her. I loaded that in a Pattern Keeper. It is 2,841 stitches. Are you kidding me? It's the 3rd biggest drop we've had. Like I said, I thought we were going down, but simultaneously I look at the you can see the silhouette of what the design is, and I'm like, it's gonna have to be less at some point because we are running out. Because besides her face, which I think her face and hair, and it looks like she has some kind of antler options maybe, that one I think is gonna be pretty big. But then it's like there's a flower, and there's like a flower over here maybe, or some kind of plant that might be here and here, and then like the little corners. There's not really much left after we put that branch on. And I mean, I guess we'll have this one, which hopefully again should be relatively smaller. So I want to believe it's taken everything to keep up with this, but I also feel very strongly about staying up with it because I don't know where the motivation will come if I fall behind. So there it is. We have not yet really had any design options. We did have one design choice on the bodice here. We could leave this this boob, this breast off the cover. So for Dark Queen, they had, of the Seas last year, they had a topless and a not topless version. And this year they said due to the design of the dress, they couldn't do a full topless, but they could do one side exposed, which I'm all for, but I think for me, I wouldn't want just one side off, and I'm obsessed with this bodice, so she's gonna keep her top on for me. Or who knows, maybe I'll see it and change my mind, and that's not a massive amount of stitches to rip out if I choose to go the other way. I haven't seen the design with the topless version yet, the semi topless version yet, but for now she's keeping her bodice together, so looking great. Looking great. And this is on the 32 count linen. You know me at this point if you've been around. 32 count linen in Nightshade from Under the Sea Fabrics. It's one of the called for. So we're gonna have to get back to that one pretty soon. Next up, our other mainstay of the channel now is my Heaven and Earth Designs the Astronomer. I'm so happy I finally had this print out so I don't have to put this picture in every time. I've not put this week's stitches in yet, which I think we're about to be, this might be the last week I can get away with just doing 310. But yeah, I started in the top left corner. I think I keep saying right because when I hold it up, it's right, but it's the top left corner of the piece, up where the curtains are. And I waxed on about this a bit last time, but I'm a little nervous to get into the colors. We'll see. I saw several people start a bunch of full coverage this past weekend, and I feel like they already have more stitches in than I do, doing like Royal Rose, so maybe I am just like way off the mark here. But I think you just gotta kind of intuit what works for you, so I'm gonna stick with this. I am stitching this on 25 count easy grid, and this is one strand of thread, 1/1 full cross is what we're doing for this. And I am liking the coverage. I really do like the coverage. So like I said, I think there's a little bit more black, and then there's kind of like big jumps down here, which I'm nervous about. So I may try to just come fill this in, and who knows what will strike me. But I am stitching 370 stitches a week on this at minimum to endeavor to get to 10% by the end of the year. Like I said, 10% is not very much done in the grand scheme of things. So might have to nudge that goal up a little bit higher. But for now, like I said, if I finish, maybe what I'll do is if I finish Stamp Collection earlier than expected, I'll like add those stitches on. Anyway, you don't care. You don't care. Everything is subject to change. Okay, next up, this is not a lot of these. Next two, there's really not a lot of progress, but progress is progress, so I will show them off anyway. So this next one was my first start for February in February, and this is Michelle Bendy's Pocketbook Peacocks. This is stitched entirely in Dinky Dyes silk on mislaid pages fabric in the color Awakening, which mine is a 32 count linen. And I put in a couple more links in this one onto this peacock over here. So yeah, not a massive amount of progress. I had this center flower motif in like one line down here, but I filled in a little bit more. We can see some of the shading starting to happen. Yeah, love working with the silks. Love it. Just another one of those. And this one is living in a, like I said, not themed at all. It's like, this is another one of the 2 bags I've made myself. This is Beetles fabric. This is Hey Jude. Anyway, yeah. Still liking it. I have the thread attached to the back, so I need to just keep going with that thread. But on the last day of February, on the 28th, I was like, I gotta put a few more stitches in. So I had 2 stitches on each, 2 stitching sessions on each of the bird pieces in February, which again, like I said, maybe slightly less than I had initially hoped, but a lot of other stuff, a lot of other fun, exciting stuff happened. Okay, lastly, my last work in progress. So as I mentioned at the beginning, I am stitching on holiday related pieces on dates related to that holiday monthly. What a weird way to say that. Anyway, I have my Christmas pin pillow by Barrick. Again, not a ton of progress on this, but progress nonetheless. I stitched on this the night we got back from Savannah, which was the 25th. So I didn't stitch it all on the 24th. So I stitched the night we got back from Savannah, but I was very tired, so I put in about 2 links and just kind of added this second row of the border in here. It probably doesn't look different to you at a distance at all, but I added this, second row of border kind of around. So back on schedule, said those darn friends and fun trips and experiences interrupting my stitchy time, but no, I'm just kidding. We had a great time. So that is the end of the pattern. So yeah, I got my hands on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, on 9 things in the last 2 weeks, which I feel like is usually a much higher, kind of a much higher like turnover on projects than I have done in the past. I feel like normally I'm a little more like, I have multiple things on the go, but I will be interested in working on something for like a couple weeks and then I kind of like change course. So this is a lot of turnover for me. And with that, I do want to share a couple stitchy plans real quick before I show you the knitted project. One thing I was going to bring up is this is partially to remind myself, Spring in Stars Hollow is at the end. The retreat hosted by the Black Needle Society is at the end of April. And if you want to participate in the Needle Minders Exchange or the Smalls Exchange, you need to have those shipped and received by April 1st. So I'm kind of on the fence. I didn't participate last year, and I think I'd like to participate, if nothing else, in the Needle Minders Exchange. So I need to just like figure out what I'm doing, take a look at some small motifs. I get a little intimidated at the idea of smalls exchanges sometimes, because I think when I see people at different retreats, not even this one specifically, but like if they go to in-person retreats or things like that, some people's smalls are just so beautiful and so well finished that I get nervous at the thought of doing my own finishing and doing my own small, and I'm like, it's not gonna be, someone's gonna be like disappointed when they see everyone else's stuff, but that's just silly. Like, everyone's gonna be excited to receive something, right? And at least with this being a virtual retreat, there's not also the pressure of like, you could see everything out. It sounds like some of these in-person retreats, like the Smalls Exchange, maybe you can like see everything, or there's bags or whatever. It's a little bit less pressure when it's all virtual, but anyway, so I might try to be brave and do it anyway. Maybe I could do it in a little flat finish like the ornament I just did. That was good practice. But anyway, that's one thing I might try to do for the month of March. The other thing, speaking of high turnover, is so in my stitching planner here, they have a Battle of the Whips for March, and I want to try to do this. I did this last year with this planner, and there were 12 projects, which was kind of a lot. It's funny because right now I have exactly 12 projects on the go, I think. I have exactly 12 whips, so I'm like, ooh, I can actually do this with 12. But this year they gave us 8. So I went ahead and filled in my starting brackets. So hopefully I can update you at the end of the month how it goes. So I kind of paired them off in ways that made sense to me. And the patterns that I ended up excluding are basically the ones that already have sort of like a designated time to be worked on. So I didn't include the stamp collection. I didn't include the Dark Queen. I didn't include the Astronomer. And then I think the only other one that didn't make it was the Christmas pin pillow, because I needed to get rid of one more, and you'll see everything else kind of had a cute partner. So so this is a bracketed style competition. So first one up here, we have the 2021 projects, as I labeled them. And so those are my 2 projects that remain from 2021, which are the Twisted Rainbow Sampler and the Dinosaur Forest. Twisted Rainbow from Northern Expressions Needlework, and Dinosaur Forest from Owl Forest Embroidery. And the way, which of course you can do this any way you want, but I think what I'm gonna do, and the way they kind of describe on here, is stitch at least 1 hour on each project and note the number of stitches completed. Move on to round 2 with the project with the most progress. Continue until you declare your winning piece. So I might just time myself for an hour and see which one I get more stitches on. Or I might just say, okay, I'm gonna like sit down and stitch and then see. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm gonna try to do it kind of the way that they suggested. So yeah, the first seed bracket, I don't do sports here, is the 2021 projects. The next one I'm calling, I called it the SWEWE bracket, which is a long acronym that stands for Stitch What You Want When You Want, which is sort of the way that I decided to label these, for these being the projects that actually, when I look through all my stuff, I'm like, this is actually what I want to work on the most. So these are the Zelda Biscornu, as I showed from the Needle and Floss, and then Must Be Possible by Kathyrn Landis as well. I haven't pulled that one out in a while, but that's one I really want to put some stitching in. So those are the, what I actually want to be working on from seed. Then up here we have the Halloween bracket, and that is Life Potion from Forbidden Fiber Co. and the Bonaventure Cemetery by Park Bart. So those, you know, I would stitch on them at Dark 13. I probably will stitch on one of them anyway, but yeah, we have 2 Halloween projects on the go, so I put that there. And then lastly, we have the Birds bracket. So that is the 2 projects I just showed for my February starts. So we have Pocketbook Peacocks by Bendy Stitchy and Lewis's Woodpecker by Lindy Stitches. So yeah, I think this is fun. I'm excited. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, we'll do brackets by brackets until there is a winner. I have seen some people, if you look through stories, some people have been voting to ask you like what should go. I think that probably makes more sense if you're someone who has like dozens of works in progress. So like even deciding which 8 to go might be a challenge. Like I said, it was kind of easy for me to narrow down to 8 from 12. But anyway, I'm excited, and I hope to update you by the end of the month, and that'll be a good time to see. I think by that math, oh my goodness, I was like, maybe I do have to do 2-week updates, because if I'm stitching on, that's gonna be all of my, it's gonna be another month of touching all my projects. Yeesh. Okay, so and I haven't really talked about this planner very much. I love it. I love it a lot. I love coloring it. And this year I bought a bunch more markers. So like for February, I kind of tried to have like a red and pink theme. And then for January, my progress tracking is kind of more of a, I don't know, like Aurora Borealis type vibe. Anyway, if anyone has any like interest in this, I think it's really fun. I don't really know what exactly I could show you, but I could certainly give like a review of this planner, especially because this is the 2nd year they put it out, and so they've already made some changes from year 1 to year 2. And I think it's for the, I think they've all been for the better. So that is how I keep track of progress. I think it's fun. And that's all of the cross stitch related updates. So I only have one more thing to show. It shouldn't take too long. You made it this far. Thank you so much. So this is my Stephen West Vertices Unite baby blanket for a baby that is due this month. Last time you saw it, I think I had only worked on section 1. So we have put some effort in the last 2 weeks. Oh my goodness. Okay, so sorry, I just gotta kind of yank on this here. So this section, or this blanket, oh my goodness. This blanket is worked in 8 sections, but you kind of always like pull from the other side. So I think this will be a good example here. So this is section 1, which you saw. Section 2 is the like pink and orange stripe section. And this thread is like holding all of these because I have to come pick these back up later. Section 3 is the all cream section, which I'm sure you're all thinking, a baby blanket with a huge, massive white section. I thought the same, but you know, it's supposed to be loved. It's Cascade 220, it's machine washable, and it's okay. It's okay. It's meant to be loved and used. Section 4 is this bright orange section, and then section 5, which I just finished, is the like burgundy and pink stripe here. And then I just started section 6, which is kind of this, it's going to be the buttered popcorn section because it has the cream and the golden rod alternating. So that, as you can see, is a pretty long section, and we'll get worked over here. And then we're down to 2 more sections, but they're pretty big. So section 7 will be another solid and will be just the pink on the top here. And then this whole side will be section 8, which is another striped section. So I think the biggest thing for me is like deciding, you know, which colors are going to be the solids. And I ended up wanting it to be the cream and the pink because those are the 2 colors that are like specifically in the baby's nursery. They're doing like a pink and cream and gray. And I have seen some pictures with some additional decorations, and it's very like textural and stuff. So I hope they like it. I hope it goes for them. I feel like this one is giving less like baby vibes than the last one I did. Not that that's good or bad. It's just very interesting. I think you could make this blanket 100 different ways, and they would all feel different. So with 100 different colorways, and it would all feel different. So anyway, like I said, baby is due later this month in March, so we gotta go. We gotta get going, but I am very happy with the progress over 2 weeks. And yeah, if you're curious about the yarn colors, happy to share. Like I said, they're all Cascade 220, but I don't have the colors right to hand, but I can get that for you if you were interested. So feel free to comment or message me on Instagram or whatever is easiest for you. So with that, that is all of the updates I have. I hope that you have all had a lovely February as well, and we're able to maybe stitch on some birds as well. I hope that if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, that some of the first signs of spring are coming out. I am very excited. I have windows behind you here, and there is a tree. There's a bunch of trees actually, and they all completely drop their leaves in the winter. And the tree that's right in front of my window has put out the first green shoots this week. And I love that tree. It flowers. It's so beautiful. So I'm very happy to see my tree coming back and just moving on this year. I think it's shaping up to be an exciting year with more trips than I initially thought, which is good. And lots of fun stitching ahead. I think I'm trying to not start anything this month, except for maybe that small. I think that's the hope. I have lots of stuff. Like, I'm so happy about all of the stuff that I'm currently working on that I don't want to get bogged down with a bunch of other starts. Like, I'm gonna put good stitchy time and everything. And like I said, as long as I have the Dark Queen going, that's a huge chunk of time every month to set aside. So, because it takes me, I have been charting when I've been stitching on it. It takes me usually about 6 days, 6 stitching days, and that's usually pretty long days. 6 days a month to stitch that. So it's almost an entire week that I spend every month stitching on the Dark Queen to keep up. Goodness. But anyway, once again, I was like, just wrap it up, girl. Hope you're all doing great, and thank you for sticking around if you've made it to the end, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.